Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today, we're going to be talking about boundary setting. This is the second time I've made this episode. Yesterday, I made it, and it was pretty long. And a few minutes of what I was doing the episode ended up being a whole pile of rubbish and it's very rare that I actually listen to my podcast. And for some reason, I thought, let me listen to this before I actually put it out there. And I was like, oh god, this the initial part of the content was pretty good, and then the rest was not good. So, and again, for it to be that long and then not be good is not what I want. So, in fact, one of my clients said, I like the fact that you do bite-sized content, but I would like to just have like a really really meaty podcast episode. So if I was driving somewhere pretty long, I can really just dive in. So there will be definitely one of those that I'll be doing pretty soon. It's going to be a free training that I'll be making a video for. So I just want to get the juices flowing in terms of practice. So I'll be doing one of those. So I'm going to dive straight into it. We're talking about boundary setting, and when it comes to boundary setting, it's just to you to explain what it is probably explain the situations that would warrant you to set some boundaries. So most people, it always comes down to respect and how that person conducts themselves, especially in a situation where there is some negativity or there is some friction of some sort. So some external friction that's causing you to have this uh, high level of stress or anxiety, and then how that person then communicates to you or how you interact with each other. And 9 times out of 10, if you're listening to this episode, you're most likely to have the ability to, under a stressful situation, be able to see clearly how to deal with the situation without losing your fucking mind. So, which is completely different to our spouses. The fact that we're now in a sexless relationship, when they feel a level of anxiety, they might not know how to deal with it, and they might not deal with stress pretty well. So, therefore, they within the past, instead of allowing them to deal with that sort of thing, we've taken this white knight type thing where we try and deal with the stress over a period of time as the as we evolve. And there's this evolution that happens, that if you look at it from this standpoint, that when you were dating, a level of anxiety and stress is so much more different to the level of stress and anxiety that she's in when you're two kids in. You're 17 or 10 years, 10 years deep into the relationship. There's a difference. So if you have 10 years of showing this person that you are the one that's going to be responsible for um, giving them some sort of regulation of stress and anxiety, because you want to be a white knight by saving this person, then you get some sort of validation. And I know that a lot of it comes down from the where you see relationships. So for example, what do I mean by that is that the template that you are set in order to get love, you at some point when you're a child or you went to caregivers and you expected your caregivers to be validating to you, to show you that some love, and they didn't show you any love until you did something really good. So they started doing acts of service, or they spoke to you some type of way that was disrespectful, but you felt like you couldn't say anything because it still, you thought it was going to take away from you being given validation. So you never really learnt the skills of being able to see disrespect and not allow that to be something that is spoken to you or done to you without you not saying anything. So I mean, most people don't like confrontation because they want to be liked. They think if I make some sort of confrontation or cause friction with this interaction, then that person's way they look at me is going to change. And that is very important to maintain that. And then that within that interaction or within that relationship, it means that they start allowing them to behave in a terrible way towards them without them really not saying anything. And then within a long period of time within the relationship, that is a very bad negative, because every time it's like being bullied. When somebody's bullying you and they keep calling you names and they keep hitting you or doing whatever, the longer you don't do anything, it's not the actual bullying that hurts you. It's the fact that you can't do anything about it is what is really, really, really difficult. So you find yourself in a relationship where you've allowed these bad behaviors to happen, where you just don't want confrontation, and especially if you measure your relationship based off of the fact that um, the less friction that we have, the better relationship we have. I find it hilarious every time I'm reading a post like everything is very good in our relationship. It's just the sex that's the problem. And I don't know why I made that voice, but the reason why is it's because somebody takes this passive approach that I'm not going to cause friction, so therefore we got this really good relationship, which is absolutely nuts, because the longer you allow that person to be disrespectful to you specifically because you don't want to cause friction, it causes you to end up in a fucking sexless relationship. So it becomes important to be able to set boundaries. So I'm just going to give you quick three things that you have to consider when you're setting boundaries, so that you guys are equipped to do so. Because I could go for months talking about why you're in this situation, and how it is developed within your relationship. But I think I've done enough in order to give you an understanding around that. So when it comes to changing and really start setting those markers in terms of your setting boundaries, you have to consider three things. And I mean, there's several other things I could put in there, um, but I think these ones are the sort of encompass quite a lot of that. So the first one is definitely a neutral state. Now, neutral state is something that we say, or we use in our community, but it's something to do that you have to stay calm within those interactions. Most people, they try and match, or they match the emotions of the other person. So for example, if they have a level of anxiety, their level of anxiety comes up, and then they're matching that person, and then usually most people get into this sort of defensive mode where they want to feel like they need to defend themselves. So, or like, oh no, it wasn't quite like that, maybe. No, you get stifled in how you approach this situation, because your level of anxiety has gone up. Or if the person is stressed, then you get stressed as well. And really what that does is, while that's happening, it communicates that you are somebody that she cannot depend on. Because again, you're sometimes when it's like, for example, if my kid loses a fucking mind and then I lose my mind, nothing is going to get done. She's just going to really not show respect whatsoever. But if she's losing her mind, then I show a sense of calm and chilled. She's more likely to be calm and chilled, because I am calm and chilled. So it's a very important skill to master, that in those sort of situations you can find yourself in a neutral state, in a place where you can, despite what's going on, you can actually still remain calm. So she's flapping, she's talking shit, whatever she's saying, and while she's talking, not allowing all of that to change you. And again, there's something to be said about her changing you, especially uh, if she's got high anxiety, and she's feeling that anxiety because of lack of control, that situations have gone out of hand, or something that she can't control is affecting how she's feeling. Generally it's because she's lacking that control, or that foresight on how to actually resolve this. Generally, because of that, a higher anxiety, she will now need a way of regulating herself, or at least regaining a sense of control. And sometimes the easiest way is to come and look at your state where you're neutral, and then if you can change it from neutral to justification or validation, so you're like nervous and scared, that sense of control of moving your emotions gives it a temporary relief, and she will do that over a period of time. And this, it's similar to the bullying shit, where the kid feels shit about himself, then he goes and kicks some other kid, and then he feels better about themselves. So it's same thing, same concept within the anxiety stress type thing. And she will do that in order to feel a sense of regulation. So it's important then to have a neutral state, because when you have that neutral state, it means that she's not getting what she wants. So, and generally, when you do that, it's going to amp up the emotional state in her. So, you want, again, this is another bit that's important. And most guys, they try and de escalate the situation. De escalating needs that you are you're when you de-escalate the situation, she will feel like you're not listening, and she will feel like you're trying to just shut her down. And this, again, is a weak move. I personally, I'm prepared to things up, like, just be prepared to allow her from anxiety and stress, and I'm willing to allow that to go to anger, because if she goes to anger, then she, and I'm not giving her any room to use me as a way of regulation. um 9 times out of 10 she's going to go internally, because she's looking for external ways of regulating herself. But really, what I want her to do is to go internally to regulate herself. So, this, before this episode actually becomes really long, let's just dive into the next two. The other one is don't justify or validate, which is exactly what I was trying to talk about right now. Is that by not justifying or validating her, 9 times out of 10 she's probably moving from stress and anxiety into straight into anger. And you have to be prepared to do so, because when you do so, she will then look internally in order to get, to start figuring out, why am I feeling this way and how can I change this for myself. And this is very important that she does that, because then over a period of time she'll get better at handling stressful situations, and get better at dealing with anxiety, which in turn will help her to show up to you when you're now spending time together in a place where she feels a sense of control, and therefore those panties will be dropping, you know. So that's why it's really important to be setting boundaries. That's why it's absolutely insane that probably this is your first time you've actually had a boundary setting in this manner, and why it's so vital within changing a sexless relationship. So, last but not least, is being assertive. uh, and I think when it comes to being assertive, most people take this place where they try and cushion being assertive. So, like, w- they justify being assertive before being assertive. So there's like a little sandwich. So the thing that they're saying with, like, I don't really like how you spoke to me, instead of saying it that way, they would say something before they say, I didn't like how you spoke to me, and then say something to justify why they said, so it makes it easier to consume, and makes it less confrontational. You need to be fucking okay with being confrontational. If she's losing her fucking mind, you say, stop. I'm not prepared to have this conversation right now. So, again, you just saying, being concise and being clear on exactly what is happening. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me that way. There's no reason why it should be escalating like this. So, I mean, again, it doesn't matter what you say, but it has to be concise. It has to be clear. You shouldn't hesitate. You have to be clear. You have to be eye contact. Make sure that it's loud enough and assertive enough that she can hear that you're not. It's this behavior right now is not okay. And generally, in terms of respect, this is how you start gaining respect. And the fact that she might not even be expecting it, this is going to amp her up even more, and you have to be prepared to allow that to happen and still remain cool. So I'm going to knock it on the head here, and you guys, hopefully, it's something that you needed to hear in order to start changing your sexless relationship. I'm very excited to have made this episode. I mean, like I said, I could have gone a lot deeper. The last episode I did go, I think it's a little bit extreme with it. So we managed to put in minutes. I think that's pretty cool. When it's bite sized in ish enough. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.